If you're going to spend this much time and talk this much about making 3 goddamn alien movies, connect them. Don't tease me with 3 movies that should go together and then don't put them together. All right, welcome to Original Geek. This is the all fandom podcast for sci-fi, fantasy, comics, and every pop culture obsession that built us. Whether you're Gen X, millennial, or just geek curious, welcome to the basement. Hey, I'm Steve Scarfo.
And I'm Jeff Shaw, and today will be your glowing fingertip to remember to always phone home. Because today we're talking Spielberg and his Alien trilogy, quadrilogy, quintuplogy. I don't know. He's got maybe 5 up to 5 Alien movies, maybe only 3. Depends on how anal the person you're talking to at the moment is.
I love how you got me set up for Geek Court as the anal one already. We're going to talk about that, but not at first. We're going to talk about some other stuff first. It's the Basement Brief. Yeah, so, I remember Spielberg's first outing in this area. I'm going to call it the first outing for the packaging of our episode and what we're talking about. And I don't believe this was Spielberg's first film, but 1977's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, often considered his first foray into the aliens topic.
Yeah, well, it is. That we will not.
No dispute. E.T. in 1982, considered the second entry into what they call the unofficial trilogy. And then now, here comes the controversy, people. Disclosure Day that just came out, we saw last week, about a week ago now, the third foray into the alien world. Jeff is smiling and shaking his head.
Our Gen X geeks out there, our OGs out there, your minds are going, what is happening right now? Because you know for a fact that Spielberg directed at least 2 other movies that had aliens in them. One that had aliens throughout, and another that aliens were a surprise. Spoiler for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Sorry. There are aliens in that Indiana Jones movie. Allegedly.
I would say not that you watched
I
it.
couldn't say for sure because, and now the hate's gonna pour in. I've never watched.
I don't know how you didn't. I'll be honest with you, because the Indiana Jones movies are like, we've of course done many Star Wars episodes. We haven't done an Indy episode. We have to do an Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford.
Then I'll finally watch.
That's the only reason you watch some of these.
I love everyone. I love the original Indiana Jones.
Have you seen?
I liked the Temple of Doom, and I never watched another one.
See, to me, Temple of Doom was not that this is what we're talking about, but we'll give it a second. Temple of Doom was the worst of the 4. Even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, a little bit better.
It helped get me out of the franchise.
It did. That's what you're looking for.
It guided me out. Hey.
Every good movie franchise looks for a way to push customers off the train instead of bringing them on. The third one is one of my favorite movies. Oh goodness, I can't think of the official title. It's the one with
Search for the Holy Grail.
The Search for the. It's not actually called that, but it's
The Quest for the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
the Monty Python.
All right, we're gonna live Google because we are Gen X, which means our memories are dead. Third Indiana Jones movie and The Last Crusade. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's
which had Sean Connery in it. I love it, but then because at the time I was out of it, I just didn't get back in. Oh, and our friend Boyd, who's been on some of our earlier episodes, spoiled it, and at that time, that seemed to matter to me.
I will say, kind of a hard movie to spoil, because that was back in the day when your trailer They only cut a few of them because they were hard to do, harder to get out, right? It was, you only saw it at the theater. Very rarely would they put them on TV. But if you saw the trailer, they showed the Grail. Like they didn't make it a real mystery.
No, that's not the Grail. But isn't there like something at the end? I don't know. There's no twist at the end.
No, it's an Indiana Jones movie. It ends really good. It's fun and it's exciting, and everybody has.
All right. Well, in the
challenges.
Legend of the Grail, you have to be dying to get the Grail. Is anyone dying who got the Grail?
I'm sorry, spoilers. You're gonna have to watch it.
Okay.
If one of y'all wants to tell Jeff what the hell he missed 25, 30 years ago, then you can tell him.
Well, no, when we do the Indiana Jones episode, I'll watch it.
All right, but we're not talking about Indiana Jones today.
No,
today we're
stay on
talking
topic.
about
it's his alien movies, which apparently are only 3.
Well, there are. So this is part of our controversy. We'll talk about it later. But there are. He's had a ton of good movies. I'm looking at this list right now, and there are the ones that we're going to talk about. But
he's a pretty good director.
I mean, he's done okay. 36 movies according to this list. That I probably have seen 34 of them at least, if not all of them. All right, I didn't ever see Firelight or Duel. Those were his first 2. I didn't see either of those. But Sugarland Express, Jaws, I saw that. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and that's what kicks us off into 1977. So, this is what we want to talk about. This is he changed the way people saw the movies. His grand adventures, starting with Close Encounters and the Indiana Jones movies, which I guess the first one came out just a couple years later, 79, I think it said. Notes, search. Raiders of the Lost Ark was 81. So Close Encounters was 77 and Raiders was 81. So just a few years later. And then E.T. came out right after Raiders. Twilight Zone, the movie, 83. Temple of Doom, 84. I know that's where you stopped watching all Steven Spielberg. Is that what happened? You didn't watch any other Spielberg?
I don't know. Yeah. I love the Shawshank Redemption. Just kidding, everyone. Just kidding. I know that wasn't Spielberg. Okay.
It's not on this list, Jeff. But so what we did do, we have both, I didn't watch E.T. again because quite frankly, I've watched E.T. like 102 times in my life. I know the movie pretty well. I'd only ever seen Close Encounters once or twice, so I did go back and watch it. I know you did too. And then we went out last week and we saw Disclosure Day. I think it's time to jump into our random review.
It's time for a random review.
All right, welcome to the original Geek Random Review. We set the topic, the dice set the direction. We know what we're reviewing, just not how. So,
all right, and today it is Disclosure Day, the new Spielberg alien movie. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know, it's about aliens. So, and I am going to roll first for Mr. Steven Scarf.
All right, so a quick recap for anybody who's new or checking one of these out for the first time, because we do put these out separately. We roll a 20-sided dice. We use a list of topics that we don't know what it is. So whatever we're going to talk about, we have to go purely on having just seen the movie and talking about it. We don't know what it's going to be. So join us. It's going to be fun.
Here we go. 17. The disorienting opening, a successful wisdom check. Spielberg dropping the audience directly into Act 2. A brilliant creative gamble by entirely skipping the close encounter and starting the movie mid-chase with Daniel already on the run. Spielberg forces the audience to think on their feet, capturing the exact confusion of a world on the brink of world-shattering.
I like this question. I really do, because I hadn't thought about it in that way, but they absolutely did. I didn't think about, I've done some kind of, I guess, research or whatever, like how to write a movie in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Like, I'm sure if you've had any kind of interest in movies, you've looked at the structure. It never occurred to me that's what he did. He dropped us right into Act 2. There's no opening. There's no slow burn. There's no getting to know anybody. It's just, holy crap, what's going on? He's running. And you learn about the people and all of the details in flight with them, because even though Daniel's one of the main protagonists, we don't know anything about him and the people he runs into because he's on the run. He doesn't know anything about them. So we learn with him. I know we've talked about this in the past with different movies, how we like when we go on the journey with the character, it makes it that much more compelling. And I really do think it did. God, I really do. I like this question. It put us in his shoes quite literally while he's trying. We don't know anything about him, so we don't know. I mean, you kind of assume he's a good guy. That's typically how they start it, but he could have been one of the bad guys. Sorry, another spoiler. Daniel's a good guy. But yeah, I think it was great. I think it was a great way to take what could have been a slow and sleepy movie and make it more action oriented. Because we talked about Close Encounters, and they don't really waste a lot of time, but there is a lot of build up. And I would argue even the middle of Act 2, not that it slows down, but it does drag a little bit because they kind of really try to pummel home the situation for Richard Dreyfuss's character. So I really agree with that. I liked it a lot.
The interesting that you mentioned we don't know if he's the bad guy, and I hadn't really thought of that because I didn't see. I saw the trailer like we all did. I wasn't sure if Colin Firth's character was the bad guy. Colin Firth is often the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. At first, we didn't know whether we were going to root for this guy. But I also, because we have no exposition, I really want you to watch this movie with your mom and let me know how that goes. Because
you mean me personally?
Yes. So, because Steve's mom, I know we've referenced this briefly before on this podcast.
It's a torture.
Always ask questions, and right from the get go, like no one knows what's going on. What's he all about?
Like literally,
what's that thing do?
Title card, fade in. There's a guy in the corner stabbing someone. Who is that? Like, I don't know.
Why is he doing this?
Like, the movie just started 3 seconds in. 100%.
Why is the Bridget Jones Diary guy being so mean?
Yeah, you're not wrong. She would never.
So I need you to watch this again with your mom. All right. Shout out to Mrs. Scarfo. And then just to double down, I agree. I think this really made for an exciting moment. And also your comment about things not going that fast paced. And one of the things that differentiates Spielberg's alien movies, except for War of the Worlds, which was why we don't want to count it, is they're not action movies generally. There's some action sequences, but no one wouldn't consider it, an action movie like The Terminator. So I think that it is interesting to have that start. It was different.
Yeah. It definitely dragged us in, which I liked. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Oh, nope. I rolled a 16. That's the same one. Hold on. 19. Successful charisma check. The train car climax. The frantic vehicle meets locomotive escape sequence. Classic propulsive Spielberg action. Relying on a privately owned railway in New Jersey for practical stunt coordination, the sequence is pure charisma hit. Combined with roaring classic John Williams score, it's a masterclass of modern big screen spectacle.
So funny that we have two action
after saying sequences. It's not an action movie.
So it was interesting in this scene are the two people we're rooting for, the two people who we learn have been, spoiler, pause. So
yeah, hold on, go watch the movie.
They
then
have
come back.
been that were abducted. It's Daniel and what is my God, why can't I think of her character's name?
Margaret.
What's that?
Margaret.
Daniel and Margaret are in a car, and they're being they're stopped at a train crossing. And the Black Ops agency bad guy is pushing them in their car into the oncoming train. And it really, it's funny, like, as I was watching it, I'm like, this feels like a callback to something. And I know Spielberg has had train sequences in a number of his movies. And then, oh man, the guy who did, who was kind of partly responsible for the Star Wars trilogy that we ripped on, the sequel, J.J. Abrams, who loves
yeah.
Spielberg. In Super 8, he's got this train sequence, and I felt like it almost feels like trains are like, I can have a train thing going on. And the action in that sequence is really solid. The special effects are fantastic. I didn't know it was using a real like train that is from a New Jersey company. I had no idea about that, but it was a great action sequence. And there is, I think here, if you really truly worry about your character's survival, I wasn't that worried about Daniel, but I was sure that Margaret had to make it. Of course, they both make it. Another spoiler, but I felt like it was an excellent sequence.
Yeah, I do agree with the idea that I did not feel. I mean, you feel the tension because they're hanging. It's kind of a classic train sequence, right? They're hanging off the edge, and someone's foot bounces on the ground, and they fall, and one arm goes down, and then you see other stuff fall, and it explodes. Like they show you all the classic tropes of this is a dangerous situation, which I don't know why we need that, because you're on a train and you're almost falling off. We all know that's kind of not fun. But I never once felt like, oh shit, one of them might not make it. I guess.
I'm just wondering how do they do it?
Yeah, how do they get out of it? Does the other guy, does the bad guy make it? That's more of a question at that point in time. And like you said, again, we're going to spoil a bunch. There's a scene in the trailer that is the climax of the movie. Like, so she has to be there, because how does that happen? And unless there's a week,
got to get disclosed.
There's a flashback thing going on, and they try to pump up some storyline to get her there, but yeah, it's like that's really all that they could do. It was still a fun sequence to watch, and again, it quite literally pulled us along this narrative of they're fighting for their lives because there are people who don't want this disclosed. They don't want people knowing what's going on. So, Daniel has the goods. She has the ability to communicate it, and they need to get this word out. And the whole thing is this. It's basically one long chase scene from start to finish of can we get this information out, and how do we do it? It was a great sequence, but I don't think it did anything like groundbreaking. The music was good.
No, I feel this doesn't need a 19.
No.
Like we rolled a 19. This should have been something amazing. But I will say this. I recommend this movie. And if you are a Spielberg fan, classics, it's got a train in it. Apparently that's a thing. But also the lens flares. You got to have some lens flares if you're in Spielberg. I felt like his use of transitions, the character building that he gets from this, and definitely an enjoyable watch. It's a Spielberg movie. And even a bad Spielberg movie is better than some of the best movies of other directors. He really did a great job with this one. So I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a natural 20 myself. It was a really good, and we'll get into the details of this. I'm going to say it like this for now. It really was a good third installment. Whether you really think it's third or not, we'll discuss. But I think it really did the job. We both have some issues that we'll talk about later during hits and fails, but overall, definitely worth seeing. I will say, and I don't usually say it for movies like this, I want you to support this movie. I want you to go to the movies. I want you to spend your money, buy your popcorn, sit in the dark with your friends. It's a great ride. It's a lot of fun. But I will say, I don't know that this needs a big screen. I mean, every movie's better on a big screen, but there was no spectacle. When I go to a theater now, I want to see like a Marvel movie, or I want to see I want the scale of what's on screen to be otherworldly, and then the scale of it on a big screen makes me feel that more. This was just people the whole time, right? Not a bad thing. And certainly, great and a great experience, but there was no spectacle that says to me, you need to be in the theater for this movie. Like pre-home theater, when people saw Jurassic Park, they said, you got to go to the theater, because sitting in that chair and feeling and hearing the rumble when the T-Rex comes up, it's a classic clip, like from when they first came out with surround sound for in-home studio. Everybody has it at their house now, but it was a thing. And that they used to go to like Best Buy, and it was when you could feel it. You couldn't do that at home before. So now the game is up. You got to get it bigger. So great movie. Go see it, just because not that Spielberg needs our money, but go see it, support it. But if you
the scenes are tighter.
To go home, it's okay.
When for that big screen, you want that spectacle, and that spectacle usually means larger scale models, or the shots are bigger, wider out, showing more territory. This was a tighter film, more intimate, with focused on certain characters or internal environments. And even when you went external, we're often very close. Like in these chase scenes, we were often in the car with the people being chased or the chaser, and then you'd have those shots where you saw a little bit more of the environment. But yeah, it is a tighter movie for shots. I can see that.
Not a bad thing, just kind of where it landed.
Yeah. All right.
You ready to go back?
I'm ready.
Let's take a trip through time. It's a Geek Flashback.
I'm thinking our flashback might be the same, because it's Close Encounters for me.
Okay.
Is that you mentioned it earlier with the first one, but I did see Close Encounters. My dad took me, as he always does, to movies maybe I won't fully understand, because I would have been 7 years old. Actually, I was only 6 going on 7. But it's funny, what stood out to me was that mashed potato version of the Devil's Tower.
Yes.
And then flash forward in my life to a cross-country trip with our friend Bill Dunbar. And we were trying to get to the West Coast as fast as possible. And so we're going by the Devil's Tower, and I made a bit of and we were in the middle of the night. Not the best time for sightseeing of a mountain.
Wait, was that the trip I was with you guys, or was that the one you did first?
No, this was one where we were just driving across as fast as possible. Steve and I and Bill, we took our time. This was another trip I did with Bill. And we were just trying to visit some family on the West Coast as quickly as possible. So we didn't sleep. We drove in shift. Well, we did sleep, but we drove in shifts and lots of caffeine. And the Devil's Tower is in. Of course, I should have looked this up ahead of time. The Devil's. Can you do your Google?
I can do it.
Magic. Okay, so Devil's Tower is in some state that Steve's going to tell us in a moment. And I'm driving cross country, and I see the signs for it. Where is it?
Wyoming.
I was going to say that. Should have said it. So I took the exit, and Bill's asleep. And I'm going to the Devil's Tower. I don't ask for permission or like, hey, could we take another 40 minutes? And so I'm driving there, and it's getting weirder and weirder. It's so much roadkill. There's so many dead things and so many glowing eyes. And I decide I'm getting creeped out, and I we didn't make it. So I turned around, got back on the highway, but I was going towards the Devil's Tower, and just that superstition was kicking in my skull. And I just thought, oh no, we can't do this.
So I do have some Close Encounters memories. It wasn't what I was going to use. I do remember. Do you know what's funny? I guess I conflated the memory because when I just rewatched, I was after we saw Disclosure Day because I wanted to be fresh for this. I, for some reason, thought that the huge mountain he made in the kitchen was the mashed potatoes. I forgot that was actually dirt and shit that he threw in from outside, and how all of his neighbors were like treating him like, and he was being crazy. But I do remember the mashed potatoes. But the one scene that really stuck with me is he couldn't get it right until he got pissed off at the clay, and he went to punch it and he knocked the top off because it was like a cone head mound, and he knocked the top off and then it flattened it out to the butte. And I'm like, really? That's what it didn't occur to you to pull just, yeah. So I do remember that. My fun of flashback is more an E.T. flashback. So I remember seeing E.T. in the theater. I might have told the story on the podcast once before. I don't remember who we were with. I want to say it was a bunch of people we were working with at the time. We were all in high school and college. What year was?
83.
83. So we were in high school. So we were probably working at restaurants downtown. Like we were all, we were either
82.
cooks.
82. Sorry.
So 82, I would have been 13 or 14. So maybe it was like one of my first jobs, probably working at Poli's or something. But a bunch of us went to the theater, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was just a bunch of kids from school. But so somebody got the big bucket of popcorn. And this might have even been one of those when they came back to the theater situations, now that I think about it. But one of the guys finished all the popcorn. I don't know, he might have even dumped it out. He ripped out 2 eye holes and he put it on his head. Now, if you've ever watched a movie with me, and Jeff can attest to this, and so can Boyd, because Boyd scared me so many times, because when I'm in, I get locked in. I'm that guy that when I watch a movie, I don't see or hear anything else. It's just the movie. So all of a sudden from next to me, all I hear is E.T. And I turn, and this dude has put the popcorn bucket on his head, just like E.T. does in the movie. And I just fucking fell over laughing. And it was, I don't know why, but that's the thing. That's my flashback. That's my memory of these movies. I honestly don't remember connecting the two of them when they happened. I'm sure I knew they were both Spielberg, kind of amorphically. Like I have to watch that director's work, or I have to watch that actor's work. Not when we were kids. It was genre and topic. They were both cool sci-fi style movies, so I wanted to see them. But that's my flashback. Mostly
my earliest memory from E.T. And the crappy thing about this, for me as a human being, is that I was going to see E.T. for the second time in the theater, and my sister Heather was joining us, and I knew she was a talker like your mom, and so I refused to sit with the rest of the family. My brother and I sat by ourselves. We're like, we're not sitting with Heather. She's just going to ask questions, and we don't want to deal with it. We'd already seen the movie. We were actually the best equipped to deal with this.
This is actually the reverse, because you did know.
Yes, this should have been what we did. We should have been taken one for the team and sat with her and answered the questions, while my mom and dad and my other sister Jessica got to watch the film in peace.
So when she goes, "Who is that?" You could have just said,
that.
"You could have just said that's Elliot." You could have given her the answer.
You were douchey.
That's funny. All right. So what do you guys have? Do you guys like these movies? What's your flashback? Even if you're not one of our Gen X compatriots, I don't care how old you are. We do this from our point of view, but we want to hear from everybody. With video the way it is now, you can watch any of these anytime you want. So tell us, what was your flashback? What was your first memory of one of these 3 movies? I guess Disclosure Day is kind of hard, so let's stick with Close Encounters. Can't have a flashback about a movie that just came out. But E.T. Close Encounters, tell us what you think. Because we have to go to court.
It's time for Geek Court.
All right. Our argument today, the case I bring before you, is Disclosure Day a worthy third, fourth, or fifth chapter in Spielberg's Aliens trilogy, quadrilogy, and quintuplogy? I'm
think you make
arguing for that it is a worthy chapter, and arguing against Stephen J. Scarfo, Esquire.
Well, my argument against is it's not a fourth or a fifth. It is, in fact, the third. Because we don't count those other movies.
So
I'll be honest with you. Okay, first
go
we'll
ahead.
start. Is it so we just talked about how good it was. So I'll tell you why I don't think it was completely worthy. I'm not going to diss it entirely, but there were two major components to this movie that make me go, what were you thinking? Like, the reason we're making these jokes about, is it third, fourth, or fifth? Like, there's this thing out there, and I don't know if Spielberg has anything to do with it, right? But the idea that he's made these three movies, it's his unofficial Alien trilogy is what they're calling it, whether you agree with it or not. So if you have this storyline out there in the world that you're going to have these three movies and they're all about aliens visiting Earth and they're all very similar in tone, it didn't connect any of the other, either of the other two movies, or any if you consider all five of them, although one of them you really couldn't include because it would have just been, death and destruction. But there's nothing in Disclosure Day that connects to Close Encounters or E.T. And obviously the aliens, E.T. looks completely different than the alien from both of the other two movies, although Close Encounters and Disclosure Day aliens look very similar because they're more the standard Roswell looking, the grays or whatever you want to call them. So I guess I was, the other thing is, I think we're in a day and age where if it's on video, people so easily just jump to, it's just AI. This isn't real. Like, it was Disclosure Day. And I think maybe that's why there is one thing that happens at the very end that I won't spoil. Maybe that's why they do that. That they do that one thing, and maybe we'll have to spoil it. But that might be why they do that twist at the end, because that way you can't say, oh, look, it's just AI.
Okay.
What do you think?
All right. So I guess we have two things at play here with our Geek Court. First is the limitation of only 3 of his movies counting as alien movies. So first of all, if we're just taking these 3, Close Encounters, E.T., Disclosure Day, is this a worthy third chapter? I'm going to say yes. Now, and I want to say E.T. is the best of those 3. You can rewatch E.T. today. It stands the test of time. For a great movie. Close Encounters, I really do enjoy it, but it doesn't quite stand up. I mean, there's some scenes in there, like right from the get-go, there's a scene when you're in the desert and there's these scientists coming in and just sand is blowing and you can barely understand a word anyone's saying. And then these airplanes are there, but you don't quite know. And I know it's kind of revealed over time, but I feel like Disclosure Day is a bit closer to that, but better. Like, I do think it's a better film than Close Encounters, but Close Encounters is Spielberg's 4th film. So, and there's other aspects to it that don't quite stand up that I think are interesting in Close Encounters. And it was probably true in its day. Like in Close Encounters, he loses his job because he's in a newspaper article for having had a close encounter. his company tells his wife he's fired, doesn't call him, doesn't talk to him, doesn't try to help him, doesn't try to get to the bottom of this. Now, but it also showed how different our times are, because they also had 4 airline pilots who saw a UFO, and all of them decline to say it on record that they saw a UFO. So it is a different time period. So we got a couple things going on there, but I still feel like I know Steve rewatched Close Encounters, but I don't think it's as good as ET, but I do think it's as good as Close Encounters. And Close Encounters, I think, partially because it doesn't quite stand up to rewatching with a modern viewpoint.
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna go on to the next topic. So
it gave me a breath. I thought I was going.
I know I was gonna offer it up, but then I realized I started something too. But there are aliens in War of the Worlds. Spoiler alert. And that I do consider an alien movie. So I do not agree with Steve that this is a trilogy. It's a quadrilogy, if that's a word. And then I've never seen it, but because we've already established this, but apparently there are aliens, or maybe dead aliens, in the kingdoms, Indiana Jones, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So technically it could be the 5th to involve aliens, but let's peel that one off. Because I don't think anyone considers Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull worthy of being part of this. War of the Worlds, I think, is entertaining and is worthy. Now I'll drop the mic back to you, Scott.
All right, I forgot what you said the first part.
So the first part is Close Encounters. It's as good as Close Encounters, but Close Encounters doesn't quite hold up.
Yeah, so I will say I agree with your order. E.T. definitely is at the top of that list. And for probably most of the same reasons, I think I think I have even after the rewatch and seeing all the stuff you're talking about, I agree with all the problematic moments. And then there's the ending, which is the most problematic, which is funny because in the way they show it, it feels heroic and amazing. But then you remember, hey, he just left his wife and kids. Granted, they had already left him, but it was maybe a fight or a divorce, but you still have kids, dude, and you just fucking took off. So that's a problem for me. I'll talk more about that at the end, but goodness gracious. Disclosure Day is definitely second. And for me, it's there's no connection. Spielberg had a perfect opportunity to Spider-Man No Way Home this shit. He could have easily tied in the other 2 movies as Easter eggs, subtlety. Hell, he could have tied in all 4 of the other movies if he really wanted to, because there could have been a War of the Worlds poster on the wall in one of the rooms when people were running through, right? It would have been he could have. That's not a great tie-in, but my point is he could have had a tie-in. That's the weirdest one. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, part of the alien physiology that you end up seeing could have been a crystalline piece, it could have been a crystal skull that they find in the wreckage with one of the dead aliens, because they do show you wreckage of the dead aliens in the ship, supposedly from Roswell. And then they could have mentioned the incident at Devil's Tower. All someone would have had to been is the incident at Devil's Tower could, that would have been an amazing one-off line that if you'd never seen it, you wouldn't have known. But if you did, if you were a fan, it would have connected the movies and it would have connected the mythos. It would have made it one long story. And in E.T., they could have made a comment about I don't even know what line they could have used. I'm just writing off the top of my head. But they could have said another comment, kind of like, "Oh, what about the one with the?"
Well, all they had to do is put it in the footage that he kept showing from revealed footage. Yeah, it could have been revealed footage in Devil's Tower, revealed footage from when E.T.'s ship
goes away.
It could have looked like E.T.'s ship. Just some Easter eggs. Could have done it.
And it makes me sad. Yeah, it makes me sad, and that's why I'm disappointed. As much as it was a good movie as a standalone, I'm disappointed on kind of the meta geek level, because there were so many more things he could have done that no one who was uninitiated would have even noticed. It would have been set dressing for everybody else, but the rest of us would have been like, I see you. I'm clocking you. My kids are going to hate that I did that. Yeah. But the thing is about these three movies too, and why I think it is just the three. First of all, War of the Worlds was a remake. Okay. It wasn't really his material. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was them trying to squeeze more money out of the Indiana Jones franchise. And honestly, to me, the worst of the four. Although 2 is pretty bad. I'm really a fan of 1 and 3 on those two. But these three all had that approach of connection in different ways, right? Communication in Close Encounters, friendship in E.T., and information and in letting that out into the world in Disclosure Day.
And empathy.
Empathy. And so it does sort of tie up, and maybe he doesn't tie it up because maybe he's not done. We say it's a trilogy because he's only made 3, but who knows? He might have another one in the chamber for 2 years from now. Who knows?
He has it. War of the Worlds. Okay, I won't let this one go. War of the Worlds is an alien movie.
It is an alien movie.
Directed by Spielberg.
Yeah, but so the second Indiana Jones movie was an Indiana Jones movie, but it still sucked and I don't count it. There were only 3. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't fit. I mean, you could say AI, artificial intelligence, is one of his movies and it's about computers. So but like, not that it's alien, but there's so many. Let's look at, was there any others he did?
So, I mean, he's made adaptations because A Minority Report is adapting a Philip K. Dick short story. Ready Player One was a novel. The BFG was a Roald Dahl story. Adventures of Tintin, graphic novels. So,
yeah, I'm not saying that he couldn't do. I'm not saying he shouldn't have remade War of the Worlds. I'm saying it doesn't fit in this section because it's not an original. These 3 are Steven Steven Spielberg originals. These were his stories to tell. Kingdom of the Crystal.
So anything he did as an adaptation doesn't count as a Spielberg movie?
No. We're just talking about the Alien trilogy. This idea that these movies are connected through his desire to tell 3 different stories from 3 different perspectives. He picked these 3.
Which would be a valid argument if he actually connected them. But
it would have been. That's why I was disappointed
doing that. So if in this movie they had a reference to Close Encounters, Aliens, and E.T., you would 100% be correct. But because he did not bother doing that, War of the Worlds is just as much of an alien movie in this.
I don't know. I disagree. What do you guys think?
Rest
Jeff
my
right?
case.
Did we count? I'm not giving up on that either, but I don't want to take all that. Do we count War of the Worlds and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because they merely talk about aliens or have aliens in them? Or do we stick with the 3 pure Steven Spielberg creations? You guys write in and tell us what you think, because we obviously are not going to agree. And that's all right. But typically we drop into a basement treasure, but I don't think I have anything this time around. Do you have anything for treasures?
No, I will admit though, I was in a secondhand shop and they had a wind up E.T. that I used to have. I almost bought it just for this segment. I'm like,
you should have bought it. Is it one of those where you wind it and it does the feet do this?
Yes. Yes.
So,
did you have that too?
I had that too, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I need this for basement treasure, but
it was literally like 2 inches
feels
tall.
Feels like cheating.
No, so here's the deal. Originally, we thought basement treasure should be stuff we had.
That's true.
But like you brought your R2, which is a new treasure.
I got OGD2, right?
I brought my 3D printed Star Wars sign down.
Yeah.
Because so it's just a treasure of the basement, not from that you had to dig out.
I could have done that.
But what we do want to dig out is the evolution here.
From floppy disks to streaming clicks, it's Geek Evolution.
So, for the evolution of how Spielberg's aliens have changed, I will allow the introduction of the Indiana Jones,
You will?
but not the War of the Worlds, because that's not his alien.
Oh my God.
War of the Worlds, it was an Orson Welles radio play. It's been done so many times. And it was a great movie. And I almost said Tom Hanks. I love Tom Cruise in it, but it wasn't his creation. No? You guys got to back me up. Write Jeff a note. originalgeekpodcast@gmail.com and say, Jeff, you have to agree with Steve.
Okay.
So
Let's
in
go-
70,
Go with let's go with 77 though. Okay,
77.
Okay.
It starts off with the we do get a glimpse of aliens in Close Encounters at the very end. I did notice a weird detail I hadn't noticed, or maybe I hadn't remembered when I first saw it. So all of this movie is very light and airy. These ships that fly around, they're bright, they're friendly, they guide people. They don't seem to be causing any destruction. And then they give out that sound. Do 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 do, right? And the guy does the
Dulcet
hand
tones.
gestures. And so at the very end of the movie, they have this tone off where they send, it's like, oh, we're kind of communicating, even though we don't really know what we're doing. And then the ship lands and the ship opens, and out come these first out come all the returned people who had been taken over the years. So they bring everybody back. And then the next round where they open a second time, the little alien guys come out, and they look very much like the Greys. This is the other reason why I was so pissed off that they didn't connect it. They look like what you would expect a Grey alien to look like based on all of the merch and imagery from Roswell and everything. But in the movie, they had a white eye with like a human iris. It wasn't just a gray blob for the eye, which I thought was an interesting detail. So they kind of had a human-esque eye. You don't get a lot of good close-ups in that movie.
No, they were the light was coming from behind them, so you didn't have to. They got away with not having a lot of detail on the aliens. So
yeah,
'cause
and
they're
obviously
backlit.
just kids in costumes, the way they were walking.
No, they're like, hey,
It was
they're acting very
fun.
childlike. And I did think I always liked. There was another movie around the same time where it was like it's like that aircraft carrier that gets sucked in through the time warp.
God, I
and
love
like,
that movie.
Like and I think about like at that time I loved that aspect of this. Like, oh, all those disappeared planes, all those disappeared ships, all those disappeared people. It's the aliens or some cosmic event has taken them. And then, so Close Encounters doing that like resonated like with my conspiracy theorist
Was it the
mindset.
Final Countdown you're thinking of?
Something like that, yeah. And
No, maybe Kirk Douglas, Martin Sheen. I don't know if that's the right one.
and so but yeah, I loved that reveal of, and they return everyone. So it's kind of this goodwill gesture. But why did they take them? Not sure. And then those people that are going off and joining and like volunteering to get on the spaceship. I thought that was interesting. They have this kind of they're all dressed the same. They have this religious moment in advance. It's like a cult, like a UFO cult. Awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. I guess I hadn't thought about it that way, but it was. I did think the religious aspect, but again, it was 77, so most of the country is identifying as Catholic, or at least that's what they want to think. So they were playing to the
God's gonna protect them.
Yes. Like they do make a point. Is it in Disclosure Day now? Where they say, God and alien doesn't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah. It was everything on Earth. That was
Yes.
and so yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that Disclosure Day?
That was
now?
Disclosure Day. Because
Yeah.
the ex-nun
that's right.
is in that. And she's questioning her faith and like, should this be disclosed? because then it might rupture people's faith in God. And
Yeah, and it could cause the mass panic. Yeah, and that's a good point. And I guess I hadn't noticed there were religious overtones in both. I don't remember any from E.T. at the end of Close Encounters. So he starts with that, and then he drops into E.T. 1982, and it's a kid's buddy movie. You know, this alien creature who's the funny part. He's small and kind of ugly cute, but he could be like 150. Do you know what I mean? But he has a very childlike. We don't know how old E.T. is, but he pals around with Henry Thomas as Elliot, and they create this connection. I don't know if you're going to bring up the Reese's Pieces thing, so I won't spoil it, but it was a cool. That's a cool tie-in too. But it's a connection to the alien, but now we never see the ship because the ship crashes at the beginning of the movie, and it's really just a human to alien connection, and the bond that they create actually affects his health at the end.
yeah. It's I thought E.T. was amazing, and it's funny because Spielberg has this reputation of getting a lot out of his child actors and working well with child actors, and because of that reputation, I thought he did more films. I know he has child actors in his films, and so even like Jaws with the kids, and in Close Encounters has the kids. So, but it's funny because I kind of thought he must have had more with where the most of our protagonists are kids, but that's not the case. There's kids in his movies, but they're not that many where the kids are the primary actors.
Not in these three, but in Hook, it was mostly kids.
Yeah,
because he had all the Lost Boys. I mean, those were literally all kid actors.
Yeah, and all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are kids.
Well, yeah.
Well, they're young.
They are new.
They're newly created.
And then we jump into Disclosure Day, 2026. Still a connection, but now it's the effect. Huh?
War of the Worlds, 2005.
Right. We decided that doesn't count. But so in 2005, we rehash old material and blow shit up and everybody dies. Doesn't really help. It doesn't count. So maybe it does. But in this latest movie, Disclosure Day, we have another view of the connections to aliens, but now it's the aliens are being mistreated and we're the bad guy. Because I did think that was, well, again, spoiler, an interesting flip, because typically the joke is you got probed by aliens, right? Like, it's sort of that redneck idea that all aliens want to do is cut us up or probe us. And it turns out we're the ones doing the experiments and the probing and the horrible shit. And that's part of the disclosure. And the reason that David snaps is he sees some footage of how Daniels, he snaps because he's seen the footage of how they're being treated, the ones that have survived, or had survived. And that's a whole other view of, we're not wondering, do they really exist? We're wondering what's going to happen if they do, and how are we?
Yeah, and tonally, I'm going to agree that the tone of these
War of the Worlds doesn't count. That's what you're agreeing to?
For the tone, because the tone is like that these aliens, like they took pilots, they took ships, but actually the airplanes are found intact, just not where you think they should be, and that, like, the ship in the middle of the desert, but hey, they didn't destroy it, and then all the people are returned intact, in fact unaged, like they've been frozen in time, and so unharmed, unaged, as far as we can tell at the end of that movie. And then and they're trying to communicate. And then E.T., the humans are more jerky than, it's funny because in the original film, all the government agents are carrying guns. And then he re-released it, and replaced through CGI all the guns with walkie-talkies because they thought the guns were like influencing gun culture. So if you watch E.T. today on streaming, not on your old DVD or VHS, you're seeing they're all running with walkie-talkies. Now they got guns. These are not nice guys. And they're doing and so yeah, the humans are the kind of the bad guys. And E.T.'s superpower is like healing and kindness and understanding
and empathy.
And then we see that again in Disclosure Day with Emily Blunt's character, Margaret. She is more her power is more powerful. So Daniel's alien gifted superpower is mathematics and logic. And that's important, but not nearly as much as Margaret. He was, tied up in a chair. He was done. Margaret just walks in and just empathy, and makes an escape. And, I know that doesn't show up as well as guns a-blazing and action. Like, oh, really? Just understanding and kindness?
Like, well, it went a little bit beyond just understanding and empathy because she had she got them to see what she wanted them to see. She could change who she looked like to them. She could change if they could see them. So there was a little bit more.
Yeah, but the thing is, for some people, so like Elon Musk said, empathy is a trap. That if you feel for somebody, then you're giving up on what should be your primary emotion, which is selfishness and just what's best for you.
We're talking about Elon Musk. He shouldn't be anybody's benchmark for anything if it's not making money.
But unfortunately, in the manosphere, in a leather, there is a lot of energy around this thought that empathy is a weakness, it's a trap, when in fact it's a superpower. And I know this film says that out loud, and I love that because it should but for some people, unfortunately, unless they personally know someone being affected, they do not care. And so when she walked in and they saw her as their grandmother, saw her as their uncle, saw them as their daughter, they finally made a connection. And that's what it took. Unfortunately, that sometimes is what it takes. You don't care about, needing stem cell research until you know someone who personally would benefit from it.
My goodness.
Unless you have that empathy superpower where you don't have to know the person personally to be affected emotionally by that.
I mean, there's a real world, it happened last year. There was a female Republican, I don't know if she was a senator or a congresswoman, voted against abortion and then had a medical need while she was pregnant and couldn't get the abortion to save her life. And she was losing her shit online. Like, lady, that would have been a perfect person for this because she had zero empathy until it affected her personally.
Right. And that's why it's a superpower for humans, because humans and other sentient life, because other creatures, a lot of creatures aren't capable of doing that. Or, so I think it's one of the best aspects of us as humans. And so that's one of the things I loved about Disclosure Day. I'll have to use a different critical hit then. And I got one. So
all right, we're going to do a quick, we'll do a quick rant. We'll drop into our hits.
Your kids don't know how good you've got it.
I'm going to go first on this one because I've said it a little bit already, but here's my rant. If you're going to spend this much time and talk this much about making 3 goddamn alien movies, fucking connect them. Okay? Put them together. It's almost like he intentionally stepped over every opportunity to put these movies on one timeline. Like, I know everybody, and look, the MCU, let's connect everything. We have a 35 movie. Like, dude, you have talked a lot about this, and I really love every movie for the things that we just talked about, but oh my God, how much awesomer would it have been if we could have said, oh my God, he fucking did it. He put it all together. So that's my rant. Don't tease me with 3 movies that should go together and then don't fucking put them together. That's it.
I'm going to let that one sit right there because I entirely agree with that. It was a missed opportunity to tie them together. It's funny, it's not until you said it tonight that I thought of it that way. So, but I agree that would have been really cool had he done that.
I mean, admittedly, it didn't even occur to me much until I went back and watched Close Encounters, and I'm like, wait, like, this could have been one. I think I texted you in the middle of the movie, and I was like, hey, is this no connection? Fuck. All right, listen, still go see it. It's a good movie, but Jesus, missed opportunity.
It's critical hits and epic fails.
All right, I'm going to share my critical hit first, and that's product placement, Reese's Pieces in E.T. So initially, Spielberg wanted M&Ms. They wanted nothing to do with the wrinkly alien, and so he pivoted to Reese's Pieces. And because of that, the candy sales, and it was actually a big part of the plot, not just like something in the background. The sales of Reese's Pieces went up 80%, up to 80%, and they couldn't keep up with production. So ever since then, and I guess some people might consider this an epic fail, but for me, I thought it was a critical hit because it showed these brands that there was power here. And just because, you might be afraid of, that relationship, like embrace it. And also because of that level of product placement that occurred after that in our movies, we got some great scenes in Wayne's World. So if you haven't seen Wayne's World, there's a lot of product placement in one segment that they used as filler, but it was also one of the funniest segments in the movie. So go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did a quick look while you were talking. They came out in 78. Reese's Pieces did. So when this came out in 82, they'd only been out for a few years, and they didn't really take off until after E.T. So
Yeah.
100% agree. I will say there was another movie called it's Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights, and it's a animated Hanukkah movie in Adam Sandler's tone. I was not a fan of the whole movie, to be honest with you, because it's just too over the top for me. But there is a whole song in the middle where they're dancing through a mall, singing about the song. The song is every store in the mall. And it's like, if this wasn't a product placement grab, nothing was. It was literally just advertisement set to a song. So let's not discount some good product placement. My fail is, it didn't connect up. I do this to myself all the time. I bitch too early. That's my fail. He had an opportunity to connect these movies, and he didn't do it. Every one of those is a great movie, and even the ones we're goofing around about. I loved Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was not the best indie, but it was still a good movie, and I loved War of the Worlds. But he had an opportunity to connect these 3 movies, and he missed it, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, and my epic fail, and once again, doesn't take away from me recommending the movie and feeling good about it. I went into it with this expectation that Disclosure Day would include after Disclosure. So I would have liked, and I get we're like, oh, we'll just fill in the gap as an audience member. We don't need everything spoon fed to us, and I'm not asking for that. But the thing is, like, we're at a different time. We're far more accepting of UFOs today. The government has already admitted there are UFOs. I think they have a different title for it, but it's the same. It's like UFOs are, as a culture, we're far more open to it. Maybe because of the success of the X-Files, I don't know. But like as a culture, like, so for the movie to have this huge impact, like, oh my God, it's Disclosure of just hearing about it, and everyone's like on their phones and glued to it. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't create a sensation, but then let's see the aftermath. And it could have just been done in news footage vignettes during the credits. Like, just give us a little bit more.
Well, Well, I do disagree with you on one
What do you
point,
think?
though, because they did disclose, and it didn't make a sensation. The government came out
Because
and
we never
said,
got to find out.
well, but no. In real life, the government came out and said, "Oh yeah, we have alien craft."
You mean in real life?
In real life, there was a
Yes.
disclosure, and everybody went, eh. Like it was really like such a non-event. I think this movie is very good, but it's not reflective of the attitudes of the human race at this point in time, because our government came out and said, we in fact have alien ships that we've recovered from the ocean, that there are aliens living in the ocean. That's what they said. And everybody went, meh. Like, oh,
Okay.
all right, really? That's that. It was really
Well, okay, but even that during the credits, like, all right, this happened. Let's continue with World War III now. Thanks for the slight pause. In
Yes.
World War III.
And I don't know.
It would have been nice though if like
I
and
definitely
empathy won. Hey, hooray for empathy!
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be reflective of real life. So I agree with you. I would have loved to have seen that kind of, and we talked about it earlier too. I wanted more. I'm like, wait, it just ends with that? She says, listen, and then they're done? Like, what? That's not okay. Well, listen, I'm kidding. So I want you guys to go out and see this movie. It's a good movie. As much as we're trashing on parts of it, it's very entertaining. And I think it did the job it set out to do, except connecting the three movies. And it's awesome. So, and go back and watch Close Encounters and E.T. because they're just good fun. Although when you watch Close Encounters, there are parts where you're going to go, ooh, really? They said that? So it's just because it's from 1977. But yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Go watch War of the Worlds as well and enjoy all of the aliens of Spielberg. All right, see ya, OGs.